was among the top 20 highest paid models in the world in the late 1990s. Shalom Harlow was one of the super waifs who had taken the industry by storm. Gone were the days of the statuesque Amazonian look of Cindy, Naomi, and Linda. She was one of the new faces in the industry that ushered in the next era of waifish models, small-boned, flat-chested, and girlish-looking, that was inspired by Kate Moss. Shalom Harlow, in her late teens from Oshawa, was already catching the attention of the likes of Karl Lagerfeld and Valentino in her early days on the scene. She was sought after for being rail-thin, her doe eyes and perfect couture frame, and her lack of inhibition. Valentino chose her to appear in one of his Paris runways wearing a pink-fitted bustier that seemed too large for her boyish figure. Afterwards, wearing blue jeans and a t-shirt, in her own words, Harlow said that the new look is a positive, approachable view of fashion. Quote, "Perfection is boring. You can find that in a Barbie doll. This look is much more down to earth." End quote. According to a fashion insider, the late 1990s waif model trend was caused by the cost of luxe materials and elaborate embroideries getting rather expensive, which led designers to draw their inspiration from streetwear and produce an anti-fashion. The anti-fashion looks were thought to look absurd on models who were more opulent in their beauty. Streetwear-inspired clothing was thought to be comforting in hard times because it was less expensive. By 18, Shalom was booked on the runway for virtually every major design house, including Christian Dior, and appearing in Italian, French, English, and German Vogue. By the spring of 1993, she did 18 shows in Paris alone. How's that for getting noticed as one of the new faces? In one of the fashion industry's most iconic runway moments, courtesy of Alexander McQueen, he depended on Shalom Harlow to walk on a revolving platform while being graceful as she was sprayed by robot paint guns for her Savage Beauty ready-to-wear spring-summer show in 1999. Trained in ballet, jazz, and tap, the reluctant supermodel from Oshawa was scouted while she was in Toronto attending a Cure concert at 16 years old. A wise teen, when the male scout approached her at this concert, she initially brushed it off as a pickup line by a creepy older man. She began working almost immediately. To prepare for the runway once she was signed, she was put in a modeling course by Sutherland Models. For her first job, she was flown to Montreal for a shoot with Quebec Elle. Editorials for Flair and Toronto Life Fashion soon followed. The early success motivated Shalom to cut her grade 12 school load in half and save enough money to move to Paris that first year. Her parents, David Harlow and Sandy Herbert, self-described Canadian hippies, had moved back to Canada and stayed in Oshawa after fleeing political upheaval in Grenada in the 1970s. Shalom was their first child, followed by her siblings Chris and Nathan. By 20, her rise to fashion stardom had been meteoric, and after years of working for the world's most coveted clients, such as Chanel, Vogue, The Gap, Harper's Bazaar, and even Gianni Versace himself, Shalom was already a seasoned pro. Also an actress, by the time she made waves on the runway and magazines, she was already in a number of feature films. A self-professed rebel, she is a music lover at heart. When she was learning guitar during her 20s, she was known to take her guitar with her to photo shoots, and then she eventually came upon a drum set and never looked back. Shalom gravitated to drumming because to her it felt like an intensely physical exercise in coordination than the guitar or piano. Quote, "It's a right brain, left brain thing. There are different beats, but cooperating together. It's your whole body doing it. you're doing the snare drum and the high top with your hands and the bass drum with your foot. You're this whole motion machine." End quote. She's also an outdoorsy person who, during her time off from the glam and lights, prefers to be in the Canadian outdoors, camping and canoeing. Ironically, the Canadian bombshell considers herself somewhat of an anti-consumer. In her younger days, her wardrobe consisted of hand-me-downs from ex-boyfriends, avoiding wearing designer labels and opting for making her own clothes instead, at one point going as far as making her own moccasins. Shalom managed not to let the glitz of the fashion industry get to her head by writing poetry, studying Chinese philosophy, and listening to alternative and rock music. Considered an anti-supermodel, she hosted MTV's House of Style alongside her best friend and fellow model Amber Valletta. She has appeared in films such as In and Out and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. She is the first ever winner of the Vogue VH1 Model of the Year award in 1995. Shalom is also the spokesperson for Chanel's Coco fragrance. With all the success and glitz and glamour, Shalom says she's a gypsy at heart. Quote, "I'm a gypsy at heart. It's just me and my bags."